So hello, Preethaji. Thank you for being with us today. For us, it's a great honor to speak with you and to ask you questions that could be meaningful for people who are just starting their spiritual journey. Andre and I, we feel extremely fortunate that 5 years ago we discovered your work. And now we joined actually Oneness World Leaders program at Oneness Movement. It's a program, it's a journey for leaders where we are learning how to lead and how to live our life from an enlightened state of consciousness, not withdrawing from life, staying there, being present to our businesses, to our families, to our responsibilities. And we can now see clearly how our life changed and life of people around us also changed for the better. We are extremely grateful
It's
for
always
that.
very nice to be with both of you.
Yes.
And it's such a nice opportunity to have this conversation. So we can spread the message to so many. It's so beautiful.
Yes. And also we can say at the end of our journey, we are graduating this year, we can say even more, even deep statement that now we see that enlightenment is possible. And it's possible not only for people who sit in the meditations for days and months, just for regular people like we are, not for monks. And I think it's really a revolutionary promise that you're offering to the world right now. But still, we want to speak more today, not about our personal journey, but to ask you some questions that could be interesting for people who are just starting their journey. And we were reflecting a lot about, is this spiritual growth needed for everyone? Or it's just for some people who are really have this inner calling for spirituality, because we talk a lot to people and sometimes they are asking us questions and we are trying to explain them and put a lot of effort to explain this simple principle, how profoundly their inner state shapes their outer reality. But still it's not so easy to explain. And I was wondering, maybe the awakening and enlightenment is not for all. Is it more luxury or a need nowadays? And why is it so difficult for people to see this connection between inner world and outer world?
The truth is, Tanya, it's a very new language. It is not something the world has got used to, has been used to, in terms of spirituality being for people in the normal walks of life. Spirituality has long been seen as for those who have detached themselves from the world and who are not wanting to be part of the regular world and then looking out for some greater meaning, a greater experience, and being devoid of the world, being detached from the world was thought to be spirituality. And that has been the input through ages. And then you have on the other side people just in the world trying to make sense of it, trying to create a life, trying to become happy by acquiring more and more of whatever they feel would bring them happiness. And that is the other end of the spectrum. What Sri Krishnaji and I are bringing to the world is very new. It is because it's always been about the extremes. But what we are telling is, we are telling to the world that you need to live in an extraordinary inner state. And when you learn that, when you are able to bring spirituality, if we kind of define spirituality as living in the profound state of consciousness, and if you're bringing that experience in your parenting, that experience in your work, that experience in your creativity, that experience, that inner still, quiet, peace, beautiful state is what we call as, then the quality of your life is incredibly beautiful. For long, people have believed that it is all about where you're living, how you're living, which car you're using to travel, what clothes you're wearing, where is your house or your mansion, where is it located, how much you can show off to people that you have made it in life. That has been the framework of believing that I have made it in life and my quality of life is rich. But having forgotten that the most important experience is what happens internally. And when you live in this profound, beautiful state of consciousness, then you can create everything. You can have everything without a struggle, without a challenge, without a constant conflict and a fight internally, but very joyful and very peaceful. People believe that if they become joyful and peaceful, they will not be inspired enough in the external world. But you must know by now that when you are more peaceful, more joyful, if you're living your life from a beautiful state, what emerges from it is incredible clarity around life. It is like seeing life in many dimensions. So much of clarity emerges in terms of the decision one makes, the action one performs, without that inner clutter. Whether the world needs it today? Absolutely. Because, there is a growing epidemic of loneliness, of depression, young people becoming sad and depressed. Spirituality, again, is not a luxury. I would say it is the need of the hour, looking at all the crises that we are seeing in the world, the different forms, the crisis in the younger generation, the crisis in the older generation, crisis between countries, within communities. It is the need of the hour. So, spirituality is to have everything in life, but from a greater power, from a greater state. And it's definitely needed for everyone, young, old, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, whichever part of the world you are. You need to nurture a beautiful state in your consciousness, because that is when you're actually beginning to live life fully.
Yes, I totally agree with you. And also, I've heard a lot from people that there are so many paths, and we also tried a lot. We are spiritual seekers with Andre for about 20 years already.
Wow.
And only this period of 5 years with you brought this immense clarity in our life. Can you elaborate a bit more what actually, how your work is different and unique? Why the meditation apps, psychedelics, therapy, coaching, self-help books, they don't give this shift in the consciousness. So what unique in your work and your approach?
At Oneness, we have the entire ecosystem. And as I mentioned, people have got used to being in stressful states. People are used to immersing in anger and not doing anything about it, or sadness. Have got habituated to being in stressful states. And now we need to change that entire inner ecosystem. So at Oneness, what happens is just not one thing. We lead people to heightened states of awareness. We help people have powerful experiences in consciousness. But we don't just lead them there to drop them down. Yes. But we have created an ecosystem whereby support comes at every level in terms of insights, realizations, and powerful transformations in one's heart, being able to let go of the past in terms of hurts, disappointment, sadness, or even traumas, and then nurturing beautiful states, not once, not twice, but just consistently building the beautiful states in consciousness. We have created practices, we show people, we help people to build awareness at different levels with powerful insights to be able to free themselves from the past. and again get back to the present moment. So I would say it's the entire ecosystem of the community, the people, the meditations, the practices, the insights, the journeys, and also the profound experiences that can happen in their consciousness. Everything put together is taking an individual, nurturing them bit by bit by bit by bit, so that that state can stay with them. And we're not interested in people just having experiences of high moments and then getting back to old ways. Actually, the fall can be very deep and very painful. Mm-hmm. And we do meet people who've gone into deep depressions and sadness because they went to a moment of high and using psychedelics or mushrooms or whatever, and then they fall back to old ways of thinking because they have not been taught, they have not had the wisdom, they have not had the ability to look at their state, to get free from it. All that is absent, and all that you have is just going up and down, especially if it is psychedelics or mushrooms or whatever it is. So it becomes a problem. Rather than trying to help you, it becomes more problem than where you had started. That's why at Oneness Movement, it is building that entire system that is needed for you to nurture that beautiful state again and again and again. And when you live your life in beautiful state and respond from that beautiful state, you begin to see that life is beautiful. You're seeing that life is beautiful. Life can be extremely joyful, blissful, and the impact that you can have on, even for your children for that matter, your parents to young children, and the impact that you can have on their lives, their state. And you see it as your child is growing up, as your children are growing up. You begin to feel, oh my God, as a parent, this is probably the best gift that I can give them. Right? So it is not about having one high note, or it is not about having one great experiences and then getting back to old ways of living in irritation and sadness and frustration. It is about consistently living in that beautiful state, ability to let go of the stressful states or suffering states, and living life that you learn at Oneness.
Yeah. Thank you, Preethaji.
Thank you.
And I would totally agree, and I think that I would compare your ecosystem to a university. Like you really built like a Harvard for spirituality that really lasts a long time. There is a whole ecosystem of things that are put into the process. We certainly understand that we cannot learn mathematics by just reading one book.
Yes.
And it's even more complex topic of
True.
our inner state.
Yes.
But there is another question from the business world, the world where I come from, mostly. And I think there is a pressing topic of decision making. We live in a world that is increasingly complex, changing all the time. There is a huge uncertainty. Yet, most people believe that quality of our decisions is based on the quality of the data we have.
Okay.
Yet you are saying that our inner states determine the quality of our decisions. What are people thinking about data missing?
Quality of your decisions are based off on the data that you have. That is how it should be. Like you base off your decisions on what you can see in terms of numbers and everything. But unfortunately, that decision is always colored by your state. So if you are in fear and then looking at the data, the same data can look very different as opposed to you living in, say, joy or connection or clarity and see that the data will look very different. You are driven. I can't emphasize enough the power of your state. It can make you see a little mouse into being a huge lion. Though we believe that we are logical people and we have the ability to see very logically and analytically, we have a lot of pride in it. But that is because you have not understood the power of your state. In fear, you have a little mouse look like a lion. But in in a state of calm and stillness, you see the mouse as a mouse, and then you plan, you decide based off on that mouse. You're not going to plan and make decisions based off on the lion. And many times when you are in suffering, when you are in stressful states, you tend to act. And it is those decisions that you're making when you are in stressful states is the most detrimental decisions that you're making for your business, for your career, whatever you're doing. But there is a great tendency to push you into action, to push you into making decisions when you are in fear, when you are in sadness, when you are angry, when you're hurt, when you're disappointed. The way the mechanism of the brain and the body is to make a decision and to act. And those decisions of one's life, when you have made those decisions from stress and anxiety and sadness and irritation or anger or disappointment, is the most detrimental decisions that you are making for your business, for your work. It does not carry clarity. That is how the brain is structured. You cannot have clarity in stress. You cannot have clarity in sadness, in hurt, in disappointment. Say somebody did not behave the way you want them to behave, and you're deeply disappointed. And from that disappointment, what I'm trying to tell you is you will be pushed to making an action. You will be making a decision because of that disappointment. That is how stress, that is how sadness, that is how suffering pushes you into action. And the sad part is those actions, those decisions are very wrong for one's business or even for one's life. So that is the greatest art, is to being able to nurture beautiful states in one consciousness and then acting from those beautiful states. Again, as I mentioned, it's not once, it's not twice, but consistently deciding life, making actions from the beautiful states has an incredible power, not only in terms of decision, but also energetically. And you carry something very beautiful for you, for what is unfolding for you in your life.
Thank you. Also, on the strategic level, I noticed in my life and in the life of many of the business people I work with, that at a certain point there comes you hit a ceiling, you hit a certain scaling wall that no amount of strategy, books, advice can break through. I noticed that only my internal shift, after the internal shift, I was able to actually break through to the next level. What do you think that wall is?
So to believe that your success, your achievement is only dependent on hard work, skill, intelligence, strategies is limited. There is a great power from within in terms of intuition, creativity, deciding right, performing those right actions, that emerges from one's inner state, inner beautiful state of, say, calm, quiet, stillness. And it is like, what would have missed your eyes when you're not in that beautiful state, opposed to what would have caught your eyes when you are in that state of calm, is huge. So you tend to take notice of the most intricate detailing of what the situation is, all the inputs, the ability for you to process it, the clarity with which you can come, the power with which you can do and decide. That is all totally different when your state is beautiful. It is like a very still, calm lake. But if the dam is like that, right? It's very still, very calm. You don't even believe that there is power in that water. But when you open up the doors of the dam, there is so much of power that comes out that you can light an entire city. Pretty similar is your beautiful state. The calm, the stillness, the quietness, everything carries an incredible power to being able to see, to being able to decide, to being able to perform the right actions, and also to access the greater support from the universe so that whatever you desire, whatever you want, whatever impact you want to create is possible. That's what people learn in the Oneness University. Like, they open up their lives to incredible clarity and also a great connection to the power of the universe. You call divine, you call God, you call universal intelligence, whatever you're comfortable with. But there is a greater power, and you access that greater power from the deep inner stillness of a beautiful state.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
But this is definitely very profound, but a skeptical businessman that we often hear would still say, like, probably still I need a better COO, or I need to change my team, but not meditation.
You
How
need
would you
probably a
respond?
better CEO, probably you need to better your team. Those are actions that you have to make. But is it coming from great clarity, or is it coming from stress and fear and anxiety? That is the difference. You might change your CEO, you might change your team, but if it is still coming from stress, if it's still coming from anxiety, you're not able to see the potential of your CEO, you're not able to extract the potential of your team, because you are internally in fear, in anxiety, and you are worried. You can relax, you can get back to beautiful state. I'm sure that's what you're doing. You get back to beautiful state again and again and again, and then looking at the situation, then seeing if you need a replacement. What I'm trying to tell is, when the state is not fine, the decisions can't be right. When the state is not beautiful, it will be wrong decisions, impulsive decisions, reactions, because that is how your brain and your mind is wired. You need to find release from that inner fear, so you act. But is that action the right action? Not really. If you can get back to beautiful state and act, those actions can be the right actions, because it comes from great clarity.
Great. There is also a hot topic of energy management.
Okay.
So people now use biohacking, supplements, sleep optimization, lots of tools. But what we found, while we used all the tools, we found that taking care of the state, being aware of it, actually gives even more energy and clarity, or saves energy and clarity. Could you explain the relation between energy and state?
See, to believe that, the mind is a compartment, the body is a compartment, and what you're experiencing internally is another compartment is wrong. It is all connected. It is all jumbled up. Your state is impacting your breath. Your breath is impacting your mind, your body. So they're all connected departments. So when you are in a stressful state, your energy is divided. When you are in a stressful state, say you're in fear or you're in anxiety, you're going to breathe very fast. And as that becomes your way of life, you wake up every morning with anxiety, you go to bed every night in anxiety, your breath is becoming very, very shallow. And when your breath is becoming, just take one example how it is coming. When your breath is becoming shallow, you're not using your lungs. You're using just the upper part of the lungs. And that means what? That means you're not exhaling the toxins. The reason for breathing is to bring out all the toxins. But unfortunately, with fear, with anxiety, or even anger, you're just breathing so heavily, just using the upper part of your lungs. And all the toxins continue to float. And when you have so much of toxins floating in your body, where will you find the energy from? This is one small example of what your anxiety can do to your breath, do to your lungs, do to your toxins floating in the body. But it is a huge thing. When you are internally quiet and peaceful, that is when you're creating an environment in your body for every cell in the body to communicate with every other cell. The trillion cells of your body move into a place of great connection and communication. When there is no connection and communication in those trillion cells, disease would set in. And in order to help your body move into that place of great connection between the trillion cells, it is also important that you move into a beautiful state without friction, without conflict, without your energy getting dissipated, but you are in the state of total health along with your body, along with your breath, along with your cells, and that is health.
Totally agree. Now, I can add also that during this journey, our health even become much better.
Beautiful.
And we...
How old are you both?
40.
40. I'll be 40 in 2 months.
2 months. You look very
Andre,
young. Very
41.
young.
Will be soon.
Very young you look, both of you.
Thank you. And
Yes.
you, how old are you?
I'm 51.
Oh, okay.
We can definitely say the same.
Yes, and I see how you look like, how your appearance look, how your team, how energized they are.
Yes.
We also observe a lot how your organization working, and we see this profound impact of inner state on your health, on your environment, and the success you have right now. So
It is like wholeness, Tanya. It is like feeling whole, complete inside, and it radiates out. Whether it is like the wholeness in the family, you, your husband, your children, and then it is wholeness in the organization, the vision that you hold, the people you're part of. So it kind of creates the wholeness, but it has to start from inside. Internally, when is conflict, when you're dissipated in energy, when you are in stressful states and suffering states, you are not able to bring it. Though you desire, you want your children to feel extremely happy and feeling whole and complete, there is the desire, but there is an incapacity in one because of one state. And that is why oneness. We begin with individuals, we begin with working with individuals, but we are able to see a global impact as we are holding individuals one after the other to kind of create this wholeness and oneness within themselves.
Yes. But there is a very big barrier still
another skeptic
into this world. Again, especially from my community of ambitious business people, there is a big fear that if we get into the beautiful state, if we become calm, we will lose our business edge. Basically, most of the people have this image that if I practice spirituality, if I meditate, I will become soft, I will become calm, I'll lose all my goals, I would like just to sit home and meditate. And because of this fear, many people are actually even afraid of this inner freedom. They think that the tension, that suffering, that aggression is actually a fuel that is responsible for their success, for their achievement, for their growth. And they're afraid to go into inner development. They're afraid even to attend the course. They just see it as a trap. What would you say to people holding this belief, and how would you describe being moved by suffering and actually moving from purpose, inspiration, and clarity?
When you become truly spiritual, for us it is beautiful state and enlightened state. You become calm, sure. You become very quiet internally. But your intelligence is razor sharp. You're not growing by bringing down others, if that is what you feel the edge is, but you grow incredibly externally also because of that intelligence that emerges from that beautiful state. People have long used their suffering. They've used their suffering to fuel their growth externally. But it is more like using a paper and burning, trying to use a paper as a fuel, or use something that burns very fast. You do get burnt out. But when you are using your beautiful state, it is like having logs of wood burning very slowly, not hurting the environment, not hurting yourself. Every step of it is joyful. It is not the end alone being joyful if you reach the end in that suffering state, but every step of it being doing whatever you're doing is joyful. That is why you don't get burnt out when you are living your life from a beautiful state. The purpose, the clarity, the vision, everything is so strong, and there is so much of power that you generate from your state that you go on and on and on. You are like a marathon runner who can go on and on and on without getting burnt out, without falling flat, but you have that power. See, the people who are able to make it in their lives big are people who have the capacity to go on for long. Not people who are succumbing to fear and succumbing to anxiety and lose out on the vision and lose out on the purpose. And that is the power that emerges from a beautiful state and not from a suffering state. Your suffering state would definitely probably would give you a little initial run, but then at the end of it, it kind of collapses, makes you collapse, and not inability to hold vision, inability to drive towards a vision is very palpable when you are in a suffering state, because it is like a fast fuel that you have used, like a fast food. Fast foods, I mean a burger or a pizza does allow you to kind of satiate your hunger very quickly, but unfortunately it is not doing good to your body. Pretty similarly, if you're going to use nourishing food, it is going to help your longevity, your health. Same is the analogy for your life. If you are going to use the fear and anxiety and all the suffering to be your fuel, it is short-lived. It doesn't have intelligence. It destroys your body. It destroys the energy that is around you. It doesn't allow you to get the support of the universe. Every step you take is a roadblock, is a challenge, is problems and obstacles. And you get tired, and then you don't realize. And even if you realize, you're still unhappy over what you've realized. Over here, it is like you have taken all the vegetables, all the protein that you need, all the good fats that you need, your body needs, and you are growing healthy internally, and then you're going out creating the success that you want to create. That is the difference between creating. I think anybody will understand this in terms of the fast food and the wholesome food. What is it that you are using to drive your life? Stressful state or beautiful states? What is the state that you are living in to drive your life? And the difference is pretty similar.
Absolutely, and we definitely see the examples of that even in our group of owls.
Yes.
We see Harvard professors, Olympic sportsmen, lots of business people achieving a lot and actually achieving even more after their state calms down. So I just think we just need more examples.
Absolutely.
Yes. And going back to relationship, what we usually see, that the greatest suffering happens in relationship, within husbands and wives, with parents and children, where love might be so easy and so deeply experienced. Could you please elaborate more why love, in fact, one of the highest states of consciousness in human experience, became so distorted and therefore so painful for.
When you say distorted, what do you mean?
I mean, they can't experience it in clearly
within them.
Maybe they have some expectations, control, or something also there in perception of love.
Yeah. One of the important, most important result of living in a beautiful state is your ability to experience connection, that togetherness, that joy that you can experience together. That is a blessing of a beautiful state. When you are in suffering and stressful state, you believe it's happening inside you and other is not able to feel it. But the sad part is when you are in stressful states, when you are in suffering, when you are in fear or anxiety, it is a state where you are building blocks around yourself and kind of making you very separate from anybody else. You are separating yourself from the people whom you love. You're separating yourself from your children. You're separating yourself from your friends, because that is the nature of a stressful state. Today there is a pandemic of loneliness, and we have a huge number of people on this planet, like 8.6 billion people on this planet, and we're talking about loneliness. So loneliness is not because you don't have people in your life. You probably live under the same roof, do the same things together, but internally you are so separate and so disconnected in suffering. And this shows up in relationships as, going your ways, parting, feeling not connected, the experience of family not being there. All that seeps in, and then the relationship is no more joyful. Each one is trying to prove their point and get hurt more and be continuing in suffering and stressful states. So I would say the biggest blessing of living in beautiful states is your ability to nurture a family, nurture beautiful children, ability to experience great connection, and that also brings about a great purpose to life. So purpose dries down, purpose disappears or evaporates when you live in suffering states, when you live in disconnection. When you learn to experience life from beautiful states, there is a purpose, there is a clear vision, there is a great strength, there is a great power that emerges from inside to impact life.
I also see that maybe the same dynamic as in business. Some businessmen, they do not want to go into this inner journey because they have this fear of losing their business edge. In love as well, some people, they're afraid of losing themselves in the relationships. So,
but what is love? What is relationship if you're not feeling the togetherness and oneness? Is it about just holding the title of being in a relationship? Relationship means the togetherness. Relationship means that connection. And if you want to be holding yourself back, you don't need to be in a relationship. And if you're not in a relationship, as you mentioned, love is such a beautiful experience that is possible for human beings. And with love comes greater well-being in your body. There's so much of science to show that, if you're somebody who's nurtured love and connection when you were in your 40s, in your 70s, your brain is showing so much of health. If you're somebody who's not nurtured love and connection when you are in your 40s, you have developed chronic diseases in the brain. So for brain health, more than any supplement that you can have, the fish oil or the alpha GPCs, whatever you're having for your brain, it's extremely important that you nurture connection. Your connection, your love, your togetherness gives great purpose, great joy. It gives a meaning for life. It allows you to create health in the family, health in your surroundings, health in your body, and also your brain health.
And also this, I think, brought us beautifully to the journey that will happen in June, soon, in Georgia. You will lead the field of awakening with the topic costless love. Can you elaborate also more about what can one expect out of this journey?
Costless love experience is a very profound experience in one's consciousness. You always see love for a reason. Somebody is nice to me, I love that person. Somebody is not nice to me, I don't like that person. No love. So costless love is going beyond the normal experiences of love that we know. It is actually opening up your heart to experiencing the great oneness and togetherness and connection. And it is a very powerful state in consciousness. And leading up there, we're also kind of building awareness on what all can take away this love from your life. Your judgments, your hurts, your disappointments, all that kind of sucks are like the leeches that sucks the blood out of you. It is like that sucking the joy of love and togetherness out of you. So we build awareness, we lead people through practices, we lead people through powerful processes, free them of their past that is holding back love. As you said, somebody is holding back love because they're pained in their past, they're disappointed in their past, and they don't want that disappointment again, they don't want that pain again. So it is like constantly protecting themselves, and it is because of a past experience, a past samskara that is continuing to flow. So we lead them through powerful processes in the field of awakening. We give them the wisdom, build awareness, allow them to get out of their hurts and disappointments, and also leading to opening up their hearts to something incredibly beautiful. So that is the field of awakening for costless love, and what we have seen is a lot of healing happening in their lives, even in their bodies, but also in terms of relationships, in terms of the ability to nurture beautiful children, to nurture their state, to kind of keep that connection. Because what is going to make you a great parent or a great partner or a great friend is your ability to connect. And unfortunately, because of the pains, the obstacles, the challenges, the problems that you've constantly faced, that ability is gone. And in the costless love, those 4 days is immersing in love again and again and again, and opening up something very beautiful. So even if you're somebody who's searching for some love in life, like you're looking for a right partner, I always say this: you can't find a right partner if you're not in a right state. If you are deeply hurt in life, either because of a partner relationship or even because of a parent or somebody as a caregiver, if hurt is what is internally your inner experience of life, unfortunately you do not have a heart that is capable of drawing the right partner. So whether you want to find a right partner of so many people, you have to find that one person. You need to have a heart that is free of your past hurt, a heart that is capable of love and togetherness. Or you have already found a partner, but you're looking at nurturing this relationship with that partner, getting out of your hurt and disappointments, getting to beautiful states and experiencing connection. Then you find that in costless love. Or even if you want to nurture a beautiful family and expand your ability to connect, which is, I feel, is the most important thing for a parent, to nurture connection with one's children, then it is the costless love. So costless love acts from various ways, but it is to experience great love and something that you really long for.
Beautiful. I really wish to everyone who can join, just jumping and to join this process, because we also we've been married before we joined the oneness movement. I also knew a lot about love and experienced love, but our experience, my experience of love became so deep. During this journey, I discovered how many colors are there, and it's incredible. So yeah.
To be honest, I didn't have a lot of experience of love before I joined the journey, because for me, to be honest, personally, love was very, let's say practical, mechanical, societal aspect. And I wasn't able to really feel deeply. My heart wasn't open, to be honest. But yes, indeed, I can say that there was a huge transformation. And now I'm able to connect to my team, to my wife, to my children on an absolutely different level.
Even to dogs. We had now
Even
2 dogs. We hadn't them before, so no, I have this. I during this journey, I awakened also to Mother Earth, to all human beings, and it's amazing. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, Preethaji. It's so valuable how you can deconstruct that huge and abstract topic of spirituality and inner work into such practical terms. And indeed, it's not only in words, but in practice. It's a technology which I really admire, and I've seen so many results. And I wish that our viewers also have a chance to experience them.
So beautiful to have this conversation with both of you, and lovely as always.